I don't think I really need to give an introduction as to what exactly Hazbin Hotel is. Created by Vivian Medrano, better known as her online alias VivzyPop, along with a huge team of extremely talented freelance animators, the pilot for the show was uploaded to YouTube around 4 years ago on the 29th of October 2019, and to say it was a smashing success would be a complete understatement. It absolutely exploded in popularity, and even now, it currently sits at a whopping 94 million views, which is insane for what was originally an independent passion project. That being said, despite this amazing achievement, that was, as I said, 4 whole years ago, and although the show was picked up by an official studio, there was very little news in regards to the production during this waiting period. At the very least, I didn't see much in regards to updates on development, and instead saw a lot of the attention shifting towards Hell of a Boss, a different series created by Vivian that's set in the same universe as Hazbin Hotel, and it was,
Aren't we gonna get our phone call, bitch?
Well, that entirely depends. Who are you gonna call?
Your fat mom taking her for a fat.
Yeah, it was not very good. Fast forward to December 14th, 2023 though, and seemingly out of nowhere, the official YouTube channel under Amazon Prime released this.
Well, hello there, you wayward sinner. Do you like blood, violence, and depravity of a sexual nature?
Oh, Daddy, Do you really expect me to memorize this whole script?
After several years of almost completely no news, Hazbin Hotel was officially coming back, and it seemed like it was about to be bigger than ever before. We've seen independent projects be picked up before, but I don't think it was to the scale where it was being aired under one of the biggest major streaming services in the world. You can say what you want about Vivian and all the different controversies that she's been a part of all you want. I certainly think she looked like an idiot in quite a number of them. But despite all those embarrassing fiascos, this is undeniably a very impressive achievement for Vivi and her team. So, as an aspiring writer who dreams of hopefully one day making a show himself, I think this is something worth celebrating because I want more big studios with their endless supply of budget to be open to the idea of giving more opportunities to the people with genuine passion for actual storytelling. Because regardless of our personal differences, I still think anyone should be allowed to make what they feel is art, even if I might make fun of it for being stupid. As of the time of this recording, I have seen all the episodes that are currently available for streaming, and let's just say I have some things that I'd like to express, so I'm going to do so. Just to be clear, I know I just commended her earlier, but I'm not actually a big fan of Vivian. As I said earlier, I didn't like Hell of a Boss, and I've never watched a single one of the live streams where she apparently drops fun little facts about the story and lore, so don't expect me to know some obscure trivia about how demons eat shit and cut fire or some crap. No, the opinions that you're gonna hear here are based solely on the first 4 episodes, the pilot, and some snippets from the fan wiki that I looked up just to give myself a bit of context. With all that said and done, let's jump right into it. The story of Hazbin Hotel takes place in a location called the Pride Ring, which is the topmost out of the 7 rings of hell, where 2 types of residents reside. We have the hellborn demons like the succubi, hellhounds, and imps who were all basically born and raised in hell from the very beginning. On the other hand, we have the sinner demons, former humans who committed crimes before their death and ended up in hell as demons as their punishment. Together, these 2 species of demons make up the population of hell in this universe, or at least within the Pride Ring. The show itself is being told from the perspective of Charlie Morningstar, daughter of Lucifer and the Princess of Hell. You see, due to the overwhelmingly high number of sinners that exist within the Pride Ring, hell has apparently become severely overpopulated, so as a means of dealing with this problem, angels from heaven carry out a ritual called an extermination, where they will fly down to hell once every single year and basically slaughter as many of its residents as possible. Charlie, as the supposed heir to the throne of hell, is very saddened by the merciless slaughtering of her people and wants to find an alternative way to deal with the overpopulation crisis. Hence, she created a place called the Hazbin Hotel, a hotel that basically acts as a rehabilitation center for sinners. Through the hotel, Charlie intends to try and rehabilitate sinners into becoming better people in hopes that through this process, they'll be able to one day become good enough to ascend into heaven, rendering the yearly ritual extermination to be unnecessary. Or at least, that's what was established in the original pilot. In the official Amazon Prime debut of the show, the plot has been slightly altered from what was previously shown and set in the first rendition. For one, Charlie's mom, Lilith, actually plays a much bigger part in terms of the lore, as after she and Lucifer were cast down into damnation, Lilith used her voice and natural charm to unite the citizens of hell, increasing their numbers and subsequently their overall strength as well. This caused heaven to feel threatened, and carried out the exterminations to prevent them from ever growing powerful enough to rebel. And this is where we have our first set of problems. If I had to describe the biggest obstacle / issue with Hazbin Hotel in one word, it would be time. A lot of things that happen in this show, and I mean a lot of the things that happen, are incredibly fucking rushed, to the point where absolutely nothing feels earned. They're just rushing through plot point after plot point just so they can shove even more shit on on screen, as if there's not already enough bullshit as it is. Now granted, this wasn't too noticeable at first since the first and second episodes are not exactly what I'd call good, but it wasn't completely dead on arrival. As you could probably already guess, episode 1 was definitely the most underwhelming out of the first 4 episodes that released, because majority of the first half was spent just trying to reintroduce the story to the audience, and it was done in a pretty clumsy manner. It's pretty obvious from the get-go that they're operating from the assumption that most people have seen the pilot considering how lazily the character introductions are done, but in all honesty, I can let this slide since it's not too big of a deal. What I can't forgive though is the latter half of the episode, which pretty much throws the chance of good pacing out the window. Charlie, having gone to meet the leader of the Angels, Adam, tries to get their faction on board with her hotel rehabilitation idea. But what's this? Plot twist? Adam and all the other Angels are actually just a bunch of murderous psychopaths who use the extermination as an excuse to slaughter as many demons as they want. Not only is Charlie's suggestion thrown back at her face, but they also inform her that they're now going to have 2 exterminations per year, so they'll be back in 6 months.
What a twist!
Alright, several things to address. First of all, legitimate question. In what way, shape, or form is hell being overpopulated a bad thing for demons exactly? The opening narration stated that the number of occupants in hell was actually making them extremely powerful, enough to cause the Angels to apparently feel threatened. Yet despite this, their actions are not treated as political tyranny, and the emphasis is still placed on overpopulation as the problem, so I'd like to know how overpopulation is negatively affecting the demons exactly. This point might come off as making a mountain out of a molehill, but these details that might seem small do affect the context, as there's definitely a contradiction going on here. Hell, having a lot of people is good, but it's actually bad though for them. Angels want to oppress demons. Does something that's technically fixing a problem they have. And here's the thing, throughout the entire runtime of the episode, almost every single demon has been portrayed as cannibalistic murderers who kill each other the second they have an opportunity. They're not the most intelligent or rational creatures, and the Angels are fully aware of this, because that's the reason they look down on them so much. Keep in mind, I'm not just falsely assuming overpopulation is an issue. The show is the one making it out as if it's badly affecting the demons.
Here goes. I know hell's population is out of control. It's a bad situation, it's taking a toll.
However, I find that extremely hard to believe, because how the fuck is there no space when they kill each other every second of the day? This also begs the question of why all the Angels find it necessary for extermination in the first place. Wouldn't it be simpler to just let their supposed overpopulation problem fester and grow worse until they eventually just start fucking killing each other? There shouldn't even be a need to intervene. If anything, the exterminations are counterproductive since they're making space for more powerful demons like Alistair or Vox to rise up. Plus, sinner demons can't even freely travel to the other rings of hell, let alone find a way up to the pearly gates. Also, why was Charlie so surprised that the Angels were complete fucking dickheads? Even if the overpopulation thing was a believable problem, she was the one doing the opening narration earlier, so she should be well aware of the fact that these guys weren't killing demons for entirely diplomatic reasons. I get that she's supposed to be extremely kind and always trying to see good in people, but her shock at the situation just made her seem like a complete idiot. These are some of the reasons why I don't think turning the Angels into antagonists was a very smart move. The concept of trying to rehabilitate a bunch of demonic rapists, murderers, cannibals, and the like was already a good enough premise for an entertaining show. They could have easily made some of their fodder demons come in for rehabilitation but turn out to be enemies, and if they really needed a big bad for the series, they already have the Overlords that could have filled that role. Alistair even has an established rivalry with one of them, so the Angels being evil scumbags as well just feels incredibly unnecessary. It does absolutely nothing but add in more elements that the show really doesn't need and cuts down the amount of time we have to get to know the characters. Speaking of which, I'll keep this section relatively short. As we've already established, the story of Hazbin Hotel has a lot of interesting concepts, but fails to really execute them in any enjoyable or satisfactory manner. This is a pretty big shame, but a forgivable ordeal, since if you're a familiar viewer of this channel, you would already know that I value characters a lot more when it comes to writing, even more than the actual story to an extent. In addition to this, I think if you ask the average Hazbin Hotel viewer, most of them are going to tell you they don't really care much about the story and just really like the cast. You probably already guessed it by now, but this is a show that's popularity is 100% carried by fandom craze like shipping and headcanons, and it's not hard to see why. I mean, take one good long look at these guys and try to tell me with all seriousness that you don't get old school Tumblr vibes. It's pretty obvious the majority of the people who watch this are less concerned about consistent storytelling and much more interested on which of these protagonists are tongue-fucking each other. And that's very sad to say, because the main characters of this series are, unfortunately, nothing to write home about. Now, to be fair, I'm not saying they're bad, just incredibly bare bones, which doesn't necessarily have to be a negative. Charlie, for example, is a pretty stellar protagonist as she perfectly fits the bill for a story of this nature. An incredibly kind and compassionate person who's just trying her best to help people because that's how her mother had raised her to be. And I do enjoy seeing her patience get tested time and time again by everyone around her just being complete assholes. That being said, her relationship with Vaggie makes me constantly roll my eyes. Why would you say that, Pseudo? Are you homophobic? Listen, man, I couldn't care less about who the characters choose to make out with as long as the relationship is compelling, which is just something I can't say in this scenario. A huge chunk of episode 3 was Vaggie trying to take charge of the situation because she apparently felt like she wasn't doing enough to help Charlie, and it was set up like it was supposed to be a huge character moment. They even gave Vaggie a musical number and everything. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work because Vaggie, up to that point, had never been shown to be insecure or doubtful of her bond with Charlie. Quite the opposite, in fact. She was always aggressive, commanding, and self-assured, so her having this supposed crisis after only 2 episodes just comes off as Russian out of nowhere. I saw someone compare the romance between these two with unseasoned chicken, and it was so accurate that it was actually painful. The most they've ever done on screen is share a few encouraging words, hug a few times, and an awkward-looking kiss on the eye. They seem more like close friends than a couple most of the time. Additionally, the rest of the cast isn't all that great either. Alistair is admittedly very cool, and it's fun to speculate on what his backstory could be, but theory crafting can only keep interest brewing for so long. I do appreciate the fact that he's kind of the thing that's making the story progress in any sort of way. By that, I mean like 80% of new characters or potential villains are weaved into the plot through a connection with Alistair in some way, shape, or form. It's honestly kind of funny how much history and clout this dude has when in terms of power, he's supposed to only be like a mid-tier demon. Nifty and Sir Penches are amusing at first, but insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Angel Dust is...
Call me Whiskers again and I'll jam that bottle down your throat.
Kinky.
insanely unfunny, but then again, so is the entire show.
Well, Adam, sir. Mr. Adam, sir.
Call me Dickmaster.
Out of the entire main cast, Angel is definitely the most fleshed out and goes through the most amount of character development, but goddamn does his constant horniness get old and annoying really, really fast. I got tired of him by like the 5th sex joke he makes, and from then on I just found myself rolling my eyes a lot of the time he opens his mouth. Plus, how are you going to use this guy as a representation of sexual assault victims and then in the very next scene have him invade another guy's personal space who is very clearly uncomfortable with Angel touching him? Not exactly the best look here, buddy. Husky's a good guy though. I like him. In conclusion, Hazbin Hotel is an incredibly unpolished, unfunny, and overly ambitious show with a lot of problems. Like I said, I like what this show's existence represents, which is that the doors to bigger horizons might just be opening up for independent creators. It's just a big darn shame that the contents of the series itself are exceedingly disappointing. The story, as interesting as it sounds on paper, is poorly executed and focuses more on spectacle instead of consistent storytelling. I'm not against the rule of cool, but the supposed spectacle itself, although not bad, is not nearly enough to make up for how all over the place the plot is. Also, and I admit that this is a rather petty point on my end, but I really wasn't all that fond of any of the musical numbers. The visuals were good, but the songs themselves were underwhelming. I really only liked one, which was, surprise surprise, Alistair's duet with Vox. Aside from that though, congratulations to Vivian on the show, but maybe spend some of the budget to hire additional writers for season 2, lest your series have more holes than the Titanic. But hey, who am I to talk? I'm the pseudo-intellectual, and 2024 has just... What the fuck? Oh shit. Okay, this is stupid. For fuck's sake, why? Yeah, you better run faster, little nip.